And my mother. I'm sorry, I was clumped in the middle. I hesitated. And it's just neat to be here. I wish all my grandparents were here.
They are.
It's
Yeah, Grandpa opens the doors all the time.
it does seem that way. We have to talk to the contractor. But to have the band play, which was awesome.
Yeah.
If you hear sirens, it is the ambulance for me. And they live in Grandpa's house. You know, the symmetry there is just unbelievable. And
Only one of them.
trust me, they're over there all the time. Well, they're doing bands. They do one on the street this summer. So I mean,
Get rid of us.
Clean tribute, yeah, the neighborhood clean tribute. But there was a great line in the West Roxbury Patch that said, Bellevue Hills having a neighborhood party, not your ordinary neighborhood party, because they were playing.
Did Gillis Family Party ever ordinary? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, it was not your parents'
Not your parents.
party, but I'm getting off kilter because I'm trying to avoid saying what I want to say. It's great to be here with people I've known since I used to dance in the shower with Toomey. My college roommate is here. My neighbors, who, you know, if you live here forever, the neighbors mean everything to you. And I'm so happy you guys came. My parents always wanted all the neighbors around and had everything.
So they could keep their eye on us.
That's not true. Athena's videotaping up there.
Wait a minute, we don't have Grandpa calling tomorrow and say, if you need to get rid of the bottles, bring them up.
Yeah. Actually, I was hanging out with Warren at wrestling, and this guy came up. It was a kid from college's father, who actually had walked onto the porch. The whole porch around the rim of the windows was beer bottles. I answered the door in a robe that was open. And he said, "Where is my son?" And Toomey was driving him to work, but he hadn't made it because Toomey had blown a stoplight at 6 in the morning and got arrested. But that's a whole other story.
Surprise!
I'm glad I wasn't with you that day.
But for my family to fly in for this, and I know they flew in for the anniversary as much as graduation, and I'm sure my 46th birthday wasn't really a big deal. They're always there. My family has been there so much, and Shelley's family, her mother was just here for First Communion. Sorry, I'm losing it. But if you had told me when we got married that I would have 3 kids, that I...
Sorry, I hugged you.
I know, Paul, you're 12 now and you don't hug your dad. But the things they do, poetry, winning poetry contests, art contests, winning the Pinewood Derby, they do so much, they study, they do so well. They are saddled with a father who tries to resemble a 1952 gym teacher.
Excuse me.
And I think I never tell them enough how proud I am of them and how well they do, because I think I act like the gym teacher too much. So I love you guys really much, and I'm so proud of you. And then, how do you express what you think about your wife? And the only thing I can say is, I was a terrible student. I got out of Latin school because I simply didn't care. Everybody else was stressed out. I'm like, about what? You know, and you walk into a class, there's a big test. Huh, all right, let's figure it out, you know, and go from there. And now I stand here, a Harvard grad. What changed? I married somebody that may be better than who I am, that centered me, And that made me persevere through a lot of things. I mean, to think what she did when Dad was ill, to even decide to live with your in-laws. Well, maybe I should have had her checked psychologically first.
I wonder.
And when I think of 15 years, it's really been about 17, ever since I first saw her across a smoky bar. I called Paul Toomey. He said, it's raining and my Jeep doesn't have a top. I said, how am I going to get home? He goes, work it. I walked up to the girl I wanted to give me a ride home, and she immediately blew me off. I realized she wasn't driving, and I started talking to this other girl who was the driver of the woman I wanted to go home with. Well, this woman was an expert driver because a year later, she was hired as the driver of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile across America, which has other connotations. So I talked her into the fact that our whole team was going out for dinner, and it was just me. And we went for Thai food, and Shelley was totally embarrassed when I went to the people next to me. Have you tried this? We came home. She actually walked me to the door, I think out of pity. I rang the doorbell, stepped away. My dad opened the door. Shelley was holding the leftovers, and my dad reached out and said, thank you. No. Oh, he said, come in. I'm sorry.
Of course he did.
And she wouldn't give me her number. I went to work. I worked in a job we had access to. This is before all the internet stuff. We had access to how to find somebody. I knew she worked where she worked. And now I know I'd be in jail. And I called her up, and we went out a couple of times. And on the third date, I wore my lucky shirt. The problem was the lucky shirt was kind of old.
And has
It
holes
had
in
a few
it.
holes in it. One big one here. We went up to the bartender and I said, I knew she was mad. Luckily with 4 sisters, I can read women. I knew she was mad. I went up to the bartender and I went, is this noticeable? And when he gave us free drinks, she said, yes, he's obnoxious. Yes, he's loud. But people kind of seem to like him. And through all that, I've just been so fortunate to be so centered and have the ability to be so much better than who I was. I can't thank you enough, Sean. Thanks.